It is one of the greatest honors to conceive of a machine and watch it come to life. This is an innovator's dream. Local Motors is a platform to power vehicle innovators worldwide. My grandfather, owner of the Indian Motorcycle Company, used to say, "Find a parade and get out in front of it." At Local Motors, our parade is the army of designers, engineers, fabricators, and enthusiasts around the world who draw, make, mod, buy, or dream of some amazing machine. We empower individuals and companies to realize their dreams. With us, they can innovate faster, build cheaper, and sell more directly. As a global vehicle industry of R&D and aftermarket professionals, our crowd spends $200 billion every year, but they do it inefficiently and in fits and starts. Local Motors is organizing this parade and getting it to march faster and in a straight line to win. In this clip, meet our latest set of innovators and watch the unveiling of our newest product, the Racer. This is the story of a legendary motorcycle designed in Portugal, built in Arizona, and sold to the world.
Well, we had a great time with the entire crew from Local Motors. They came out to our shop and we picked out the winning motorcycle design. It was a really, it was like a party sort of an atmosphere, but it was really electric and cool because Andre's design stood out right from the beginning and we knew that was the bike that we were going to go with. As soon as the dust settled from the party though, that we were going to move on and look for what we call the donor motorcycle, which is an original Harley-Davidson that is now going to become the Racer.
We've been scouting around everywhere and we think we have a really good candidate. We're about to head to the outskirts of Tucson, hoping this is going to be the one.
So what we look for in, a quality donor bike, it's less about the visual and how clean it is and more about the fact that it's really mechanically sound. Normally when we approach the owner of the bike, I'll just start chatting with them, starting to feel out the history of the bike while Justin goes in and starts doing a really, really close, tight, physical inspection of the bike, making sure it doesn't leak or anything like that. And then from there we go and I do a pretty thorough test ride. And as I'm riding it, I'm obviously checking it for my seat of the pants feel of horsepower, clutch, gears, tranny, that everything's working great. And at the same time, Justin's watching visually to make sure there's no smoke or anything fishy, coming out of the tailpipes as I go by.
Yeah, it looks like Warren lives in the last possible house.
As we roll into Tucson, we realize we're deep in the desert. We're way out into the mountains, and we end up approaching and pulling up to this chicken ranch and thinking, this is interesting. Let's see where this is going to go.
Here we are. Let's check it out.
So I had to rearrange a lot of stuff, and I swear it's
Warren just wheeled out the motorcycle. It looks pretty good. Justin's actually going to get down with the mechanical inspection while I chat with Warren so I can find out the background of where the bike has been.
When I'm looking over a motorcycle, I'm looking for all types of stuff. I'm making sure that I don't see smoke coming out of the exhaust system. I'm making sure I'm not hearing crazy sounds coming from the engine. I'm looking for structural damage, anything that would indicate the bike was abused. And a real key point is making sure that the numbers from the motor and the frame line up and the title. So at that point, we know we've got a good solid bike to build from.
Bro says the bike passes the visual inspection, so now it's time to go put a thrashing on it and see if it's actually going to stand the test of some good heavy-duty riding. The things I'm looking for when I test ride a motorcycle, first and foremost, is power. Does it feel like the motor is still strong, has good compression, and it hasn't been, beat to death? Does the clutch feel strong? The clutch doesn't slip? Does it shift appropriately? You know, even if the pads are worn out, does it just feel like otherwise the braking and everything is solid on the bike? And then of course the chassis. Is everything straight? You know, is it true going down the road? And I can feel that it's never been wrecked before.
Sounds pretty good. Looks good. Well, Jared's out riding the bike right now. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping he comes back with some good news. And I'm also hoping he doesn't wreck around the corner.
I think it's going to work. The motor is really, really strong. That's the part about this bike that makes it unique. It's got the dual spark heads on it, single fire ignition, and for it being stock already and with all this heavy, you know, junk on here essentially that we're going to remove, it feels really, really nice.
Warren just gave us some free eggs from his chickens.
Yeah, nice. Those are free range, they say.
Wow. Wonder where he got this. Oh yeah, check it out. Look at the variety of colors. Green, brown, white, off-white. Man, 2 dozen free eggs.
Nice. You know, Warren and my bro, they were all chummy, and Warren gave him some range-free eggs. We're gonna shoot back north and get started on the breakdown.
All right.
Ramps
Done.
all packed up. We're good to go. Now we're back at the shop, and we're going to get the motorcycle up on the lift, and we're going to do a complete and total breakdown of the motorcycle.
It's about time to get down to business.
You know, we call it demolition, but it doesn't matter what you're going to start with. You look at it, is it on the motorcycle? It is, take it off.
We're super excited to get this bike broken down, but the inevitable is we're going to run into red Loctite. It's basically an adhesive you put on fasteners to make sure they don't shake loose and come apart, but you put enough of it on there, you've got to put about every ounce of energy you have into breaking that stuff loose to get the bike apart. We'll see just how torqued down those Milwaukee dudes like to do this.
Whoever changed the exhaust before, it really chewed up this mount for the sprocket cover. And again, the Loctite is amazing.
This clearly has been like bumped into something from the previous owner, and it looks like the dude took out the little socket head Allen that goes in here and put a flathead screw of some sort to hold it together. Every bike we come across, there's always been 10 people wrenching on it for the last decade, and you don't know what you're going to run into. And on this bike, no exception. I always see those guys on the TV shows where they have like 20 dudes ripping a car apart. I don't know how the heck they can function with all those bodies around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can already just feel your presence over there that I have to look out for, let alone like 20 dudes. I don't know how they do it.
With Justin and I doing a tag team though on this motorcycle, it's coming apart really quickly.
Nice. There we go.
Very quickly, we're about 1/3 of the way of tearing down this motorcycle.
Wow. Egg sack right there. Probably fresh spider babies pretty soon.
Now we're going to take the engine out of the motorcycle. We always make sure we're real safe. These things are, you know, cast iron with some aluminum, but they're pretty heavy, so you have to make sure that you team up on it so nobody blows out a back. We're not getting any younger.
Gotta find a spot where those damn exhaust studs don't cut my wrist. That feels pretty good.
Okay.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
And then? Probably a little more, huh? That's pretty good.
1, 2, 3.
Damn sponge. Cool, good work, bro. Well, we got the motor pulled. I might have slipped a disc or two, no problem. It's out. Now we've got a few more things to do until we get it fully broken down. I saw the parts on the table. It looks like 10 motorcycles blew up on there, but that's the bike. It's all torn down, done.
Okay, we just got the motorcycle 100% broken down and disassembled. It took us a few hours. And pretty much, for the most part, everything on this table is going to get ditched. Some of the electronics we'll use, like the single fire ignition and things like that, probably keep these brake calipers. So we'll restore a few items here and there. But for the most part, this will be just about getting the stuff organized off the table, getting the shop cleaned up, and getting the frame back over to Justin's area so he can get the hardtail going.
Now that we have the bike torn down, it's time to turn it from a softail to a hardtail. But we'll do that outside. We just got done mopping inside the shop.
Ready? Yep.
DP racer. This is what we're after right here. Well, now that we have the frame cut, it's time to deburr the cuts, drill for some plug welds, and get this thing put together. Well, now that we have all the parts prepared, it's time to get the pieces onto the frame jig, get things aligned, and get to welding. Line this dude up here. Get this squared up in here pretty nice. Oh, dude, that already looks good, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that'll work out real nice. Okay, man. Done, man. Good work, bro. Thanks, bro. That ain't going anywhere now.
We got the hardtail wrapped up. Justin fabbed on all of the tabs for the battery box, exhaust, the seat mount, and everything else. And now we've got the entire frame on the way to the powder coaters to get a nice coating of white. Next up, we're going to get into the motor. We like these things to be as like new condition as possible for the future owner. So we break off the cam cover, primary cover, sprocket cover, and the entire rocker box assembly and go through and put in new seals, new gaskets throughout. So everything's going to be really, really buttoned up when it's done, and of course the bike is going to be leak-free.
Somebody's been inside of this carburetor.
Really?
Yeah. A couple of these screws are mangled. Or maybe they never got inside of it, but they definitely, somebody left 2 mangled up screws. As far as the carburetor goes, same thing. We take the carburetor apart. What we're doing is we're making sure every jet, every orifice, everything is cleaned, everything is resealed, regasketed, and built back to spec. So we know this thing's gonna run like a brand new bike. Local Motors bike isn't just taking a straight out of the box fender. If you guys have seen the design, we have to do a kind of little racing winglet on the back with some gussets on it. And it's easy enough, it just takes a little bit of time, and we just go simple by cutting out some templates, and we play around with the shaping just to get the proportions where we want them and make our marks. One thing before I even get into this, we went back and forth with some mock-up on the motorcycle and cut.
Dude's not getting any younger, losing his motor skills.
There's nothing wrong with my motor skills. Next up is get the welder rigged up. We'll throw some tacks on it, hold it together, and then we can do the full welds and do the body work. Here's the test to make sure we're on the money. It's looking pretty good, huh? Bro, where you at?
Over here.
How's this look?
Yeah, it looks tip top.
Fresh, huh?
Yep.
Yep. I've got the wing tacked on, looks great. Bro agrees it looks good. Time to weld on the gussets. Nice. Well, the tacks are all done. Now I've got a fully weld defender, and I'm just gonna do it in bits and pieces over time so I don't overheat it and distort the shape.
Later on, I'll do the bodywork and the primer on that. But for now, I've got the gas tank smoothed out, and it's time to get it in the booth and lay on some of that fresh white paint. And then once the base coat is nice and cured, we're then gonna head down to Local Motors, and we're gonna visit with their graphics department, and we're gonna get the striping together.
You got that door? All right. Speed on here, nice and easy.
In a few minutes, we've got Ron Hernandez, master pinstriper, coming over to put some stripes on the wheels.
How you doing, big man?
Great, man. It's good to see you again. Thanks for coming.
It's been a while, yeah. Well, any excuse to get out of town is good.
Yeah, man.
Us too. We showed Ron Hernandez André Costa's design images in advance, and he did a perfect job.
I can't even believe the outcome of these wheels. This guy, he's a genius. And I'm gonna have nightmares tonight just thinking about how talented other people are out there in this world. But blown away. I could not be happier. I love these wheels. They're works of art.
Today we're going to head out to Local Motors, and we're going to meet up with Eric, who does all of the vinyl work and the graphics on the Rally Fighters.
I get your door for you, bro.
Okay.
There you go. We're pretty excited. We want to see what he's got in store for our gas tank and our fender. The tank and fender turned out great. Now we're gonna head out of here, get back to the shop. We're gonna put tons of clear coat over them, and they're gonna look awesome. We got our front fork assemblies put back together again, and they turned out really nice. We're super happy with them. We had the powder coat put on the lowers down here to match the frame. They did a bang-up job on it, perfect color, and Jared did his magic. He went through, put all new seals and all new hardware and everything, and put it back together. So now we have components to build the front end. Yeah, good work, bro. That's tip top. That's just where we're gonna need it. So we can red Loctite those and get those on, and we're good to go. Yep. Well, I've got the sprocket installed, and Jared's over there getting the body work done on the intake, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys realize, that was printed on a 3D printer.
You can see here on the guide coat how lumpy that is. For the time being anyway, you know. I'm working on the bodywork today on the intake so we can get that nice and straight and ready for paint, and Justin is over there creating the motor mount, the coil mount, and the ignition switch.
Bro, probably in a little while I'm gonna need you to come over, not yet, but you're gonna have to hold this up for mock-up purposes.
That's fine, let me know.
Man, I wish this motor was in the motorcycle with that circular disc right here so I could get a better sense of where it's all going to come together. Because the gas tank, I think, is going to be about here. And, man. So I just want to get this done. I don't want to have it sit too low later.
We're a few weeks into the motorcycle build now, and everything's going great. Now that the front end is done, we can create a roller, which is getting the front and rear axles on, getting all the spacers made so we can get the sprockets lined up, and hopefully by the end of the day, get that chain on there.
Okay, yeah, all right, good. Yeah, you can take it all the way in now. Okay. Right to there. All right, all the clearance looks good, huh? We have the wheel installed, the axles in. Now it's time to get the chain installed and torque down the front sprocket. Come on, pliers. Aha, nice. Nice and square.
Yeah, we'll see. Ready?
Yep. Good.
Now that we've got the chain and the sprockets all lined up, Eric and Alex are coming out from Local Motors to do a test fit on the intake. And if everything's well sorted, they're also going to apply the graphics.
Oh, that's looking awesome.
Yeah, it's
Nice tire size choice.
Yeah, thanks, man. Center them out a little bit. Cool. Yeah, that looks good, man. Can't resist. I'm gonna go grab the tank and put it on the bike just so we can see how everything looks together.
Oh, that's super good looking, yeah. And like the rounded edge and the fact the tank's got a sweep, especially on the forward part of it, it makes it so the fact that the air intake is where it is relative to the tank, it totally works out.
It sucks. I wish you guys had a giant mirror so I could see that side, but I'll just take your word for it.
It's always really cool to have the guys from Local Motors down to the shop. Bro and I have been doing 18, 19-hour days, so it's like a breath of fresh air to get somebody different in here for a change.
Yeah, we were talking about that and things like that. It just is much fun.
Oh, yeah. It sets it off, man.
Yeah.
It's great, man. I love it. Awesome.
The American flag graphic turned out great. We're gonna pull the intake off the bike. Jared's gonna take it to the booth and start covering it in clear coat. Yeah, what's super cool, we had so much progress happening the last few days. There's little things that maybe you wouldn't normally stumble on when you're looking at the grand scheme, but just little details, man. We had the oil, or not the oil lines, all the brake lines. We take time to measure them up, so they're just like form fitted to the motorcycle with all new banjo fittings, and even like the angle of how the fittings come off of the hose to fit the motorcycle, we calculated just right, so the hose doesn't bind. It's just little details, you know, and the brake lines look awesome. What else was on? Oh yeah, there's the whole setup came together on the motor mount. There's like 100 things going on at once that had to happen, but there's a plate that's going to go here that you guys will see in time that's going to have the number 7 on it. That covers up most of all the busyness that's happening here, but behind this we've got a stealthy ignition that's going to happen, a push button starter. We had to relocate the choke just so you can access it and get to it, but still not have it hit the disc with the number 7. We just made, just 2 nights ago, all the spark plug wires. These are all made by hand, and like symmetrical and balanced, so those turned out really, really good. We have the oil tank, we just put this on, just came back from powder coat, so that's all set up with all the fittings hooked up, ready to go. Fender struts, another little thing that you probably wouldn't really stop to look at, but they have to be scienced out exactly with the length. The fender is going to be pitched one way or another, or it could be off center, and it's all, you know, welded and just set up really nice, so that turned out perfect. But all this little stuff, it just takes time. You know, it's so simple, but we'll be out here for like an hour, you know, just like leveling it and getting it to look good.
We've made huge progress on the bike over these last few days, and in particular, a really big victory has been the Moon Eyes discs that we had custom made for this motorcycle. We got them painted up and installed on the front wheel, and they look just spot on.
We had a issue with the solid front wheel being machined out of solid aluminum, and the weight issue and all just the rotating mass that was going to come into play, and we ended up bypassing that to go with a lightweight mag wheel. and some aluminum discs to cover it to give us the overall aesthetic that we're going after, but still keep the weight down. And this is the finished product. We have the discs were machined and spun out of aluminum. The spokes on the mag are drilled and tapped, so it takes the disc with some 10-24 fasteners, and it's I think they look great. They really did a nice job on the discs, and we ended up just shooting these in-house to paint them and match all the powder coat that we went with, and really nailed it.
The original headlight bracket that Justin made had the headlight a little higher than we wanted it to be, so last night he made a new bracket.
We had built a mount and a standoff, and it seemed like it was going to work pretty well, but when you're doing like 20 different things at once until it all comes together and you stand back and look at it, that's where the light bulbs go off. And we weren't really happy once things came together where the light was sitting. So we brought it down a good, I'm going to guess like a good 3.5 inches or so from where it originally sat. We fabricated a new bracket, and now we still have clearance for the suspension to articulate and do what it's supposed to do, but the light is sitting low and cuts down nice, and we're happy with it. It turned out good.
Getting the tank mounted to the motorcycle is a really motivating part of the build. It's kind of like a turning point where you know you're on the home stretch.
All right, man. Lower this guy down. Looking good. A little lower in the back. And then right in the front right there. Hang tight for a second. And then this dude, can you tilt it towards me a little bit? Okay.
And we've been staring at this fender for days, looking at the cool stripes. We've been dying to see what it looks like on the motorcycle. Now it's finally time to put it on.
And that should sit right between the strut, and you should have your button head on that side.
We've got the fender and the gas tank installed. They look so unbelievably good. I can't stop staring at them, but we still got to get the exhaust installed and of course finish the rest of the bike. Yeah.
Cool. Looks nice, right?
That looks right.
As good as the tank and fender looks on the motorcycle, we made a judgment call. We're going to pull them off so we can mount the seat safely. The last thing we want to do is scratch the paint. I just want to be pretty careful doing all this. Come on. A little bit of powder coat's just grabbing the threads just a touch. There we go. Good. Get this guy back down here.
I can just
You want to hold that? I'll run the bolts over. Yeah. The seat looks great. It turned out just like Andre's design. The upholsterers, they really did a bang-up job.
Looks awesome, looks comfortable. Can't wait to try it out. We literally worked all night long, working on every last detail on this bike so we can get it fired up this morning.
And hopefully all goes well, because today's the last day we have to work on this. Tomorrow's the big reveal. Ready?
Welcome everybody, welcome. I hope you can hear me. If you can't, bring it in a little bit closer, because this is going to be a momentous occasion, and we're just so happy to have everybody here at the Microfactory. We rarely get to do really big unveils like this because it's quite simply hard to make vehicles. And Local Motors has committed itself and dedicated itself as a company to making vehicles come alive that are dream vehicles. And this is a very special day for us, one of just a few that we've had in our history where we get to debut a new vehicle with friends and family and great partners. So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. This is going to be an exciting time. Now, to kick it off, I want to give you a little bit of history. Today we're here to talk about the launch of a first-of-a-kind motorcycle. This motorcycle was crowd-created and developed across the world and is going to be brought to life here in Phoenix as a result of an incredible partnership. And that partnership started with Patrick Gramm here joining us at Local Motors. Patrick is the one with the camera walking around. It's hard for him to wave. There he goes. And he became friends with two brothers who moved here from Detroit in the 80s. And Patrick is a filmmaker by partial trade. He does many other things in life, in addition to being a great dad. And so he met these guys when he was looking for some of the best stories to tell about things that were amazing in automotive. And so these guys, Jared and Justin Del Prado, are brothers, even though sometimes they look alike and sometimes they don't, depending upon long hair and whatnot, what motorcycles they're riding. But they decided to give up their corporate jobs and take on the most wonderful job of all, which is to create vehicles together. And they've made an incredible company. They've put out a number of bikes and put them in customers' hands, which is the exciting thing. And so Patrick met them and filmed the story about them. And it all started for us as joining this partnership, Local Motors, when Patrick and I were talking back in February, and it was on February 6th in the evening. We were on a plane coming back, so 5 months ago. And we said, you know what? We should do a partnership with somebody who is willing to develop a motorcycle here, and we should engage the community online, and we should design a motorcycle and develop that motorcycle here. And that was February 6th. And of all these people, the #1 winner was André Costa from Portugal. We're waving to André right now. And I'd like to stop and give him a round of applause for what he achieved, because what he's about to unveil is amazing. And this bike is about to become real. I want to say one more word before I do it, and that is the bike has a soul. Every design that we do at Local Motors has a soul. And the history of this bike is not only in the V-twin Sportster hardtail style, which I know that Jared's probably going to want to say something about and talk about, but Andre's design celebrated a great era of Formula One racing. And one of the signature styles on the bike during the 1970s was this hammerhead air intake that sat up above the driver's head. And Andre chose that as probably the defining element of what would be good on this bike. And it really is such a signature piece. I'd like to thank the Del Prado brothers for the incredible engineering and work and design and the entire company effort that you've brought to this. I'd like to thank your wives, Jody and Yvette. Young Chance, for being here, so thank you for coming down and for sparing all the time that I know that you've probably not seen them for the past 6 weeks. Thank you very much, and I'm going to introduce Jared Del Prado.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you all very, very much, by the way, for coming out. This is a really, really big day for Justin and I, and you know, when Jay talks about the fact that we used to be corporate guys, we had corporate jobs. Initially, we were a wee bit leery with, hey, we're gonna, do this deal with Local Motors, which, is a large, well-known company. But we learned very, very quickly on, these guys are all 5-star. This is a world-class organization. From talking to the CEO, who talks to you just down-to-earth, great guy, to the engineers who worked on, the intake, and then, Patrick Gramm has been phenomenal, and Kate with the media, everything. It has not felt in any way, shape, or form like we've been working with anybody other than just a Class A partner. So thank you guys all very, very much. It's been an honor. And then, of course, the entire design community, no doubt there as well. Those guys put so much effort. If you could see every single design that came in, the 3D imaging, the time, the effort, so many cool paint schemes and designs. It ultimately is just difficult in that you can only pick one, but they were all of them magnificent. And of course, Andre, thank you so much. We're huge, huge racing fans. We have been since we were kids. And when Jay talks about this is a V-twin Harley-Davidson style motorcycle that we're actually that we build, we love bringing in auto racing, thematic elements into these bikes, even though pretty much every critic out there has always said, why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense. It's a racing car and that's a motorcycle. But that's what I think Andre's design did so well, was it brought what we're already very, very passionate about. It was instantly, both of us, cameras or not, Justin and I intuitively, instantly agreed this is going to be the bike that we're going to build. And we couldn't be more happy with it. It felt like a DP Customs bike from the very, very beginning, and both Justin and I were jealous that we didn't think of designing that intake before you did. So thank you very, very much. And really, we'll see where this goes down the road, but we're looking forward to having, Jay and the rest of the team get on the bike, because you're about to see it. It looks really, really fantastic, but it rides even better. The power is great. The brakes are strong. Everything we try to create is a motorcycle that looks phenomenal, but it's never intended to be a show bike. We intend for these things, for Jay, everybody, just ride the hell out of this thing. But okay, so enough of the talk. Do you guys want to hear this thing fire up or what?